Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here. I'm back again with another video and continuing on with Backlog February. We are diving into the original PlayStation this time, and I've got an interesting game that was published by Eidos and developed by Monkeyfoot, or Muckyfoot, whatever it's called. That is Urban Chaos, but does it live up to the scrutiny? Well, we are going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly, so without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so first off, before we get started, I apologize. It's been about a week since I dropped my last video, but most of you probably know why if you're among the 75% of us here in the US that was covered in that crazy snowstorm that we had that was basically countrywide. We saw about a foot of snow here where I'm at and saw wind chills as low as negative 30 degrees to negative 35 degrees. So it was super cold here, power outages, all the like. I just decided not to mess with it and just hunkered down and just played some games when I could, considering I didn't always have power. But moving on, one of the games I did get to check out was Urban Chaos on the PlayStation, and in this game you play as an elite cop who just joined up with the Union City Police Department, play as a chick named Darcy, and worth noting that you play as an African-American woman, which is a huge rarity in the gaming world by large. I can't think of 5, and so let me know in the comment section below if you know of any female African-American protagonist that's the main character. Like I said, this is literally the only one I could think of off the top of my head. But anyway, she is set to clean up the city from a gang known as the Wildcats. They're out to take over the city. Their attacks have become more bold and brazen, and so you and the rest of the UCP, it's time to crack down on these thugs. Now, the gameplay in this is really interesting and really worth noting. The open world aspects of it. This is like an early GTA prototype. Again, this was released in 1999, and there are several games that came in the following years that definitely took influence from this game. Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PS2 is among them. This reminded me heavily of Oni on the PlayStation 2, Driver 2, just to name a few. Again, by today's standards, not exactly open world games. You play in level-based missions, but they're kind of open world maps. So within these open world maps, you can walk around the city, and you can even enter interiors and talk to bystanders. You can even take on side missions and just kind of impromptu missions that pop up out of nowhere. Like you know, you can stop fights and break up hookers, and you know, catch guys who got their dongs out peeing just in public on the side of a building somewhere. Just all kind of crazy stuff. You can bust drug deals and the like. So they were really forward thinking when it came to the gameplay, in addition to the kind of open world settings and the open world kind of tropes that are now more commonplace today. She's got a wide variety of weapons. She can fight hand to hand. You've got punches, kicks, you've got throw moves, you got melee weapons like knives and baseball bats, you've got pistols and shotguns and assault rifles. So just really a myriad of different ways you can take out your enemies, or you can go non-lethal and basically just beat up and arrest all of the perpetrators in the city, and that will actually get you more of a positive response from the bystanders in the city, that you're not going guns blazing and you're taking more of a peaceful route. So that's cool. Like, they give you a lot of options in the gameplay, and you can kind of carry on and complete objectives as you see fit, which again, for this time, which is super unheard of. So this is definitely an early prototype for like open world games. I was hugely impressed with how much they tried to give you and how much they tried to put into this game, but therein lies the problem. The biggest issue for me was with the controls. If you've played PlayStation games like Akuji the Heartless, the Tomb Raider series, Ninja Shadow of Darkness, Driver 2, there's a lot of games like that. The combat seems kind of stiff and kind of choppy, and you got a lot of that on the PlayStation For me, it's not a big deal. I grew up on the PlayStation, and I really played a lot of PlayStation games like as they came out in my formative years. So for me, I can go back and not really, you know, have as big an issue with that. But if you're someone getting into retro games and you hop in on the PlayStation or the N64 for that matter, just 5th generation games in general, they all are kind of like that. And this one is worse than most. Taking on large groups of enemies, quickly, you know, the tides can turn and not necessarily in your favor. Some enemies can grab you and you get caught in a loop where you're grabbed and they can beat you up, punch you, and kick you until you die and you can't really get out of it. If you get knocked down a certain way and you've got enough enemies over you and close enough to you, they can just kick you and stomp you out without giving you a chance to stand back up and defend yourself. So a lot of things like that. So you kind of find, you know, cheap deaths and a lot of kind of frustrating experiences like that playing this game. The other major issue I have with this game is the graphics. Now, this game was also released on the PC and the Dreamcast, and I'm very interested in trying those ports of the game because if it, you know, with a fresh coat of paint and some beefier graphics, this game would be a lot more enjoyable. And so I think if I can find this for cheap enough on the Dreamcast, or if I get into the PC someday and play this on PC, I think I'll have a lot more fun with this game. All in all, I was pretty impressed with what I played so far. I think they had a lot of big ideas and they were kind of limited by the technology of the time. This was also Monkeyfoot's first game, and so maybe they just didn't have the budget. They only made 3 titles. It was this, I think, Treasure Island or Treasure Planet was the name of it. And then they also did Blade 2 on the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox. So right after that, then they shut down in 2003. So they were never really like a super big company with a big budget behind them. So I feel like just that and other technological limitations of the time kept them from making a fantastic game. If you do see this though out in the wild, I bought my copy for about $8. I usually see it around $10 or less on the original PlayStation. It might be a little bit more on the Dreamcast, but I'm definitely looking for it on the Dreamcast now because I would like to experience it with 6th gen graphics. But all in all, I think it's cheap enough that if you're interested in checking it out, it's definitely worth the money at 10 and below. Alright guys, so I think that's going to do it for this episode, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. What do you guys think of Urban Chaos? If you played this game before, if not, is it something you'd like to try? If you guys like this content, go ahead, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out. Peace.